There's a new law, well, not a law, there's a bill that's getting passed within the House, the Congress down in Ohio, and they're passing legislation that would ban transgender athletes in high school and in college from participating. And a way that they would also make sure that that is figured out is if we do some genital exams, because everyone else are groomers. Let's go into some details of this. Representatives voted on House Bill 151 on the first day of Pride Month. The measure next goes to the Senate after lawmakers return from summer recess. If the bill becomes law, it would take precedence over all current policies by high school and college sports associations. The existing association policies, which aim to protect medical privacy and stress inclusion, take into account testosterone levels or the length of time an athlete has been transitioning, is what Cleveland.com reported. The new bill calls for an outright ban on transgender athletes. And under this measure, if a player's sex is disputed, he or she will have to present a physician's statement about, quote, internal and external reproductive anatomy and testosterone levels. Students would also have to show an analysis of genetic makeup. High school and college, again, these proofs that you have to do in order to participate in these. So also during this hearing on the bill, Representative Beth Liston, she's a Democrat and a physician, she called this amendment state-sanctioned bullying. This is truly bizarre medically and nonsensical, but looking at it practically, this bill means that if anyone decides to question a child's true gender, that child must undergo a sensitive exam. I struggle to understand why we keep discussing bills focusing on children's genitals. I do too, I wonder the same thing, Beth. But again, the crazy part about this is they're worried about it over this vast number of transgender athletes in the state of Ohio. Let's look at some of that. According to Equality Ohio and the Ohio High School Athletic Association, there is only one transgender athlete in the entire state who's participating in high school sports. And that one athlete is participating in softball. She had some things to say. Being able to play on the girls' team is absolutely amazing. It's a total dream. I feel at home and I can be myself. I don't have to put on the mask or pretend to be someone else to enjoy the sport that I love. Also, this is not a normal problem. This is made up. Let's feed red meat to the bases issue. That's also what Rich Brown, who's an Ohio State representative, a Democrat, also said about this whole thing. But Republicans that are backing up this whole thing, they don't care. I mean, all these points that are made about who this athlete really is, also that there's one, and they're going through all of this trouble. This is what they're saying as well. I'm passionate about this issue because we cannot allow girls' dreams of being a gold medal athlete to be crushed by biological males stealing their opportunity. This bill ensures that every little girl who works hard to make it on a podium is not robbed of her chance by a biological male competing against her in a biological female sport. I did high school athletics, Jank. I went to state in track in 3 different events. There was no podiums. There was no playing of the national anthem when you stand there. You know what you got? You got this little medal and you went back home. And right now I have no idea where that medal is.
Yeah, it's a national catastrophe, this one person in Ohio, so I'm glad they're on it. So I'll get back to that squirrel in a second. But first, let's note that Republicans are perverts. So this is literally a law to check the genitals of school-age children. I mean, they constantly talking about groomers. Why do you guys want to look at kids' genitals? It's disgusting. You're weirdos. Like, oh, this is a really important issue. Really, is it? As JR pointed out, it literally has happened once in Ohio. And they're like, because of that, you want to check the genitals of all the kids in Ohio? What's wrong with you perverts? So, I don't know, maybe it's because they want to volunteer for the position. I don't know what it is, but there's no dispute. This is a squirrel. Well, and she mentioned robbery a bunch of times. I mean, that's ironic because Republicans help their corporate donors rob you. Oh, we're gonna kill $15 minimum wage. In Ohio, you know what the minimum wage is? $7.25. So don't worry about your wages. We're not gonna give you any health care. We're gonna kill a public option, lower drug prices, Medicare for all. We're gonna kill it all. You're not gonna get any health care at all, and your family might die because of it. But there's a one trans girl on a softball team in Ohio. Everybody, to the barricades, okay? And of course, the other reason they're doing it is hate. They know that Republican voters are animated by hate. So they're like, the others, it's a trans girl playing softball. And the Republican voters are like, let's go get him, pitchforks, and check out the kids' genitals while we're at it. Perverts and freaks.
Yeah, this is disturbing on so many levels. But for me, the thing that is really brings me immense anger is the intrusion of their privacy. I mean, we're talking about going to someone and having them have to do a physical exam, and not only go through the exam, but share those private medical details with someone else. And let's just also make it very clear that not everybody is born where you can identify very easily what sex the person is. And so we have there's a whole gamma here that we're talking about. And it comes down to just being full of intense hatred and bigotry. And it's really reminiscent to me of the time that women had to be examined, to make sure and to prove that they were pure. And again, this all comes down on the basis of privacy, which is under the attack on so many levels. We really cannot be asleep at the wheel on this one. We're seeing it with Roe versus Wade. Again, the reason why we're able to have the freedom to make a choice for ourselves and our bodies is based on the right of privacy, which is also the foundation of why we're able to marry who we want, regardless of gender or color. I mean, there are so many things that are attack, and the foundation again is privacy. We can't just be interested in the things that might, just pertain to us. We have to be fighting for each other and looking at this in a holistic manner, because if we aren't fighting for each other, we are all at risk. So we really need to have this on our radar and making sure we are standing up and speaking loudly about this and having the political courage and willpower to actually fight back on this issue.
Which I think about the basis for reasons why maybe some of these folks may be upset, or if they see a competitive event and they get upset and go, oh my God, we have to make sure that athlete is really a woman. Do you guys remember last summer at the Olympics in August? There was a Namibian runner, Christine Momba, and she went through the sex-affirming test because that former sprinter, Marcin Urbas, was complaining there's no way a woman can run those types of times because it's just impossible. She can't be a woman. How many different women, girls even, in this particular case, since we're talking high school, would have to go through that because they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she's winning and breaking records. This is unreal. We have to find out if you're really a girl or not. That could be sometimes the basis for why they would do this type of stuff, and now they have a law, or I'm not sure if it's got to that point yet, but we'll be backing this kind of ridiculous approach to being upset about someone losing a high school athletic event.
Yeah, Republicans passed it through the state legislature. Yeah. So last point on this is, Jim Jordan's from Ohio. He's at the federal level, not the state level. But I don't know if he pushed for this, because remember, he's a guy who helped protect a child molester. When he was a wrestling coach, the doctor was molesting tons of kids there. And they came to him for help. And Jim Jordan said, no, I don't care. I'd rather protect the coach who's in power, or the doctor, I should say. And he never did anything about it. And those wrestlers came out and said, yeah, Jim Jordan definitely knew we were being molested and didn't do anything. So maybe he's back at it, and he's like, oh guys, maybe Republicans, we can figure out how to check out the kids' genitals. So that's what Jim Jordan's got a past of. So QAnon, if you're looking for groomers and perverts, Ohio Republican Party is a perfect place for it. Why do they want to check the genitals of all the kids based on one case that they pretend to be concerned about? Bunch of sick people who work for their donors and are totally twisted in every imaginable way.
And don't get mad at us for saying it. People like these folks who passed this think that their voters think this way, or maybe they know it. Depends on whether or not you want to fall into that category.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.